Good evening. We are here with the very first vignette for Somebody's Heroes. And we are here tonight with the phenomenal North. I'm Eric, I'm the Dungeon Master.
And I am Northwolf from Twisted Fates.
And we will get into who you're playing here in just a moment. We're going to actually start off. We're going to start off 1,800 years before the events that are happening in the main show. So this is a long time ago. Only 200 years after the meteor that created Tauliva in the first place crashed. Tauliva is not even a city yet. In fact, there might be a small colony of about 20 people there. So it is nothing compared to what it was. This is a world unlike anything that you guys will see in the coming years. However, the place we're going to tune into right now is actually a castle up on a mountain top somewhere. Now, North, did you already have a way you wanted to describe the castle in mind, or
no?
Okay, perfect. So it's one of those Gothic style castles. You can very much see it like almost like one of the Dracula type of castles with the tall spires and there's a large observatory at the top of one of your tallest towers. Hell, if you want, there can even be a telescope.
Maybe later. If
down the road.
Room. If there's room.
Yeah, there's plenty of room for it if you choose to down the road, but you've got plenty of life to live. But it is currently a storm is rolling in.
Perfect.
It is a very dark and stormy evening. Lightning is crackling all over the place. You've got the sound of rain coming down. You can see rain on the outside as you close the door behind your last guest. Everyone here, and there's probably about 100 people that you've invited this evening, is decked out in very, very nice, very fancy attire with masks on. You've invited them all to a masquerade ball. Nothing bad ever happens at a party, does it? As you turn, your guests all look to face you. What do they see as they gaze upon your character?
Assuming that the last person has entered the room, what they'll see is a person who is around 6'2". He is of my complexion, medium brown. He's got black hair. What they see is a long, lustrous gown type robe that is red, laced up with golden accents on it. It has almost an Eladrin feel to his clothes, as leaves are carved inside of his pants, almost very embroidered. Excuse me, not carved, it would be embroidered. He would also see that his eyes would twinkle in the candlelight that would be surrounded him, but almost as he approaches, shadows follow him, and as they encroach onto the being. So what seems to be a bright, sunny location or full of light seems to hide away once Vaelith shows up.
Fantastic. So there's this aura of darkness around Vaelith. Yes, that's the vibe I was getting.
100%.
Fantastic. So as you go, you find several beautiful women, again, adorned and masked, just awkwardly gossiping off in the corner. There's a bunch of people dancing, but there's like three females just off in the corner, chit-chatting, gossiping, it seems.
And Vaelith will approach from far, and he would extend his hand and say, "Good evening, ladies." I hope that you are all enjoying yourselves this evening, though.
Two of them drink, like the double-fisted drink like you do when you're a little nervous. And then the third is like, we absolutely are. What is your DC on your vampiric charm?
Oh, that is a great question.
Because they're all gonna have to roll as soon as you roll up in this piece.
Yeah, that's high. That's at least 24.
It's a 24.
Oh yeah.
No nat 20s there. That's not a nat 20 either. That was their only chance at anything.
Sure.
Because these are noble ladies. They have a little bit of that charisma, but they're not as refined,
Sure.
per se. They were easy targets.
Yes.
As you're talking to them and they're sipping their wine, their eyes do a real quick flash and glaze over for a second and then return to normal. You can tell they are successfully, absolutely charmed by you.
You will see me later in my quarters as I hunger for more.
And they just scurry off up the stairs like they know exactly where to go. They've never been here before, but they
definitely know now.
They know now. Vaelith put it right in their heads, and they just whoop, whoop, whoop.
They would see an image flash before their eyes, and it gives them kind of directions to where they would go. It'd lead down a hallway, straight up the stairs to the left. And there's many chambers. Vaelith didn't give them directions to his chamber, but directions to guest rooms, as he doesn't trust anyone. He'd give them directions to where he actually sleeps. So this castle of it's enormous, will lead to many, many different rooms, and many rooms have hidden chambers, and many chambers have chambers within the chambers. So this place is well fortified, and no one deserves to be in my quarters.
Very, very nice. So the party continues. A couple of noblemen actually walk up. Good to meet with you, Lord Vaelith. It's a pleasure. I look forward to our business meeting tomorrow. Just this guy who you know to be a pompous. He's like feels over-titled.
Sure.
He's only like an earl, but he acts like a count, like a duke or a viscount.
Sure. I scoff at the mention of his meeting with me, and I look at him in his eyes, and I extend my hand. And as I do so, I squeeze a little too hard. Address me again without saying count, and that will be the last time you stand before me.
Of course, I apologize, Count.
Thank you. Now, to the matter of hands. And there's other people.
As you release the grip, he does the hand thing that you do when someone squeezes your hand that little too tight. It's like.
Could have crushed his bones if I wanted to.
And
no one addresses Vaelith in a tone of equalness. Vaelith does not see himself as equals to the mortals. He is someone who is in high power and high chair. He's been alive for over 2,000 years. He's been here for quite a while. He knows that mortals want power, and they seek his presence to get that approval. So he holds this ball, this masquerade for those who are willing to play the game with amongst each other, but he doesn't really care for the shenanigans and does it for appearance more than anything else.
Of course. So after a while, people do try to keep schmoozing with you. Many of them using your main title, like your proper actual, calling you Count Vaelith and calling you properly and addressing you as they should, right? But as the party starts to wind down, as long as you're allowing people to leave, because you have full control over where the door opens, even if it's unlocked.
I have no reason for people to not leave my quarters.
You're okay. So they go ahead, and many of them start leaving as this storm starts to get worse outside. You hear a giant lightning crack as it hits a statue outside. Splits the statue in two. It was just a statuary. It was nothing fancy.
Damn it! I'm gonna need to replace that.
Yeah, that's about what that was. And so people start leaving and getting in their carriages and driving off, leaving you to your three lovely ladies that are awaiting your presence.
Sure. Do I recognize any of them?
You've got they're all in their mid-20s, so they're all respectable yet full of life, full of vigor, and succulent. You have the young ladies. Let's go with Myra, Myra.
Sure.
And then she was the one who actually had the capacity to talk to you.
Sure.
And then you've got Charlotte and Caroline, who are the two others who could do nothing in your presence except drink the wine that was previously provided. So they are all up, laying. Actually, they're just sitting at a small little card table, continuing to gossip as they previously were.
I enter the room, and it's almost glide-like. It's very as if I wasn't touching the floor. And I open the door, and as Vaelith walks in, you could see him tossing a coin in his hands as he looks to all three of them. My question to you, Game Master, is there anyone in here of importance that I would know?
No, it's just the three younger ladies who have no official title. They are ladies because their parents have title.
Got it. Would I know if any of them would be missed?
The Lady Myra would be. She is the daughter of one of the local dukes, and is the only daughter of him.
Sure. I walk over, or glide over, depending on their perception.
Mm-hmm.
And
both of those rolls were under 10, so yeah. You're gliding.
Yeah. So I am walking over, and as I walk over, I stay standing, look over to Charlotte and Caroline, and then to Myra. What brings you all here tonight?
The party, and your well-known hospitality over the centuries.
Well known, you say, and you could see him start to pace. What have they been saying about me?
Oh, that you treat all of your guests so lovely, and that your parties are top-notch, even surpassing my own father.
Your father, you say? But who is he?
The Duke of Rushmount. Just to the south.
You can see his intent. It's a little bit more strong on Myra.
As I add a last name.
Yes. Charlotte and Caroline, how do you know each other? And he says this in a confident manner, but you could see that he's turned from playful to now interrogative. But to them, it's more of just him using his charm.
Naturally, they super failed your last one, so they are so enamored with anything you're saying that it's like butter coming into their brains.
Oh, we're sisters. We're the Claremont sisters.
The Claremont sisters, hey?
Yes, our parents were super clever with names. They like alliteration. We have a brother named Christopher who's going to take over the county.
So you both have no importance of being here.
Only to find a match.
And he directs his attention to Myra.
Okay.
You seem to have something of importance to tell me, don't you?
As she smiles a little bit, she tucks her hair behind her ear, and you can see she's got the pointed elven ear. She is actually a full-on high elf, so she will live a long natural life, and she is still very young within her elven lifespan. She might be technically around 50, still in her 20s, but still at 20s in appearance, but she's only lived barely anything in her lifespan. The other two are absolutely human and would not have any length of time of this mortal plane of their own volition. But she tucks her hair behind her ears and smiles. I came seeking a match myself.
You did now.
Of course.
And why is that?
Because I am the only one to carry on the duchy, and my father tasked me with a very important task of finding someone, and she stands up and draws on your chest to secure that post.
He takes a step back. He'd like to do a perception check on her.
Go for it. What are you trying to perceive?
What I'm trying to perceive is her true intentions, as he doesn't trust anyone. He hasn't trusted anyone in over 2,000 years. So he's just trying to see her true intentions. I have a passive insight of 23, or I could roll for it. Your choice.
She rolled a nat 20.
Perfect.
So you can tell she's still charmed. You know that because your charm doesn't wear off that quickly.
Sure.
And you saw her eyes glaze like everybody else.
Sure.
However, she's obviously much more forward and has very pointed goals. Being charmed by you did not change that. All it did was maybe change direction of those pointed goals.
Could I tell that she's holding back due to the other two being in the room?
Possibly. It would not be an impossibility. However, the nature of these two are very young and childish and foolish.
Sure.
Whereas she has
A maturity about her.
a little bit more of that maturity about her, having technically been alive on this plane longer.
As he reaches back and looks at her more intently, it echoes in his brain the laughs and the childishness, and he's annoyed by it. So as he steps back, He could hear the echoes of the laughter in his brain, almost drowning like, and you can watch as he collects himself and snarls in their direction, and with a flick of his wrist and looks towards Charlotte and Caroline, he snaps his finger to break their neck.
Ooh. Now, do you have a spell of any kind that actually does that, or?
We're about to find out.
Okay. Wasn't sure if you had a specific thing you wanted to use to trigger that.
Sure. I have synaptic static.
Okay.
I can shoot off. Synaptic static is choose a point within range and cause psychic energy to explode there. Each creature in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on that point must take an intelligence saving throw. A creature with an intelligence score of 2 or lower can't be affected by the spell. A target takes 86 damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. After a failed save, a target has muddled through thoughts of 1 minute. During that time, a roll d6 and subtracts that number rolled for its all. Well, that's a little bit too complicated. I'm just trying to kill them.
That's 8d6 worth of damage, yes?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll, but they're probably dead. That's a 3 and a 6 on the die. They both failed. That's a minimum 8 damage. They're just done. Like,
Yes.
snap their neck and they just drop.
Yeah.
Now, because you hurt one of her allies, she's gonna get a reroll on that vampire charm.
Sure.
That was only a 14, so not a nat 20. Nat 20 was her only chance.
Sure.
And so yeah, she's still locked. Her eyes are still locked on you as her friends just have their necks snapped and they drop to the floor.
He takes off his mask and looks at her a little bit more intently. There now. Speak to me clearly.
I was originally interested in perhaps one of the young earls who can be easily persuaded and bent. However, after meeting you, my sights have been set higher.
What is your goal here? No muddling of words.
Since meeting you, to match with you, of course. And grant you the title of Duke through our match.
We'll start pacing.
Because you previously said you only had the title of Count.
Yes.
So a higher title is...
So Duke, you say?
Of course. You would be Duke of both this estate and these lands as well as Rushmount.
But what if you can have more?
More? How much more?
The limit is your imagination.
And she's like, she rubs her hands. She gets this, like, almost villainous smile as you're tempting her with power she never thought of. And she walks up and caresses from right above your eye down around your cheek and stops right around here, right around the chin, and says, "Oh, my dear Duke, we shall."
Vaelith will take that hand and drop it. That is the last time you touch me without permission. Do you listen to me?
Of course.
Do you understand what I am offering?
Why, of course, you're offering that we conquer the world together. Or as much of it as we can in our lifetimes.
No. Do you understand? And he can see that he gets a little bit darker in presence. The repercussions of what I am offering you.
Now, have you born fangs yet?
No.
Okay. I'm just... Because she's still mortal and does not understand, because there's maybe 5 vampires. There's
Sure.
you and like 4 others. There are not
Sure.
very many. So she does not actually fully understand. She
Sure.
goes, what more is there aside from conquering the known territories?
You are high elf, no?
Naturally, I have several hundred more years. Hell, maybe 1,000.
How much of your studies have you actually paid attention to?
Most.
Then you understand there are creatures beyond this realm.
Of course, there are many, many planes. Planar Studies is next school.
What do you know of the Fae?
Well, I know there's the Seelie, the Unseelie, the Court of Weathers, which is the spring, summer, winter, fall, and that they are mischievous indeed. And while ill will is not necessarily always their aim, there are usually downsides to making deals with them. But that has no bearing. Why do you ask?
What if I were to struck a deal with you? What say you?
Well, are you the Fae? And she, like, knowing that you're not, according to her, she just, like, there's no way this couldn't possibly be. So she's gonna say it like a crazy thought that maybe, but you're probably not, because that doesn't happen.
And he's going to speak. What is it? The language of
the Fae?
No. Well, you know what? Make it the Fae. Screw
Okay,
it.
so Sylvan.
He's gonna speak more Sylvan, which is Spanish.
Okay, let's go. I'm writing that fucking down right now. Sylvan equal Spanish. Got it.
Señorita, no sabes lo que hiciste. And that's translated to, young one, lady, you don't know what you're going to be doing next. Roughly translated.
And she quite literally does not know Sylvan at all. She rolled a 2 on the die.
Oh, amazing.
She's an elf who knows no Sylvan.
That's great. That's wonderful. As he does so, he takes her hand and he gently caresses it with his fingertips. And he does a circular motion. And then he leans it up, drives his fingertip up to her cheek, grabs the back of her neck, pulls her in closer. Not forcefully, but enough for her to give in.
Mm-hmm. She's still fully charmed, so you're good. She's putty. She is putty in your hands right now.
What if you could live forever, as he whispers in her ear?
Of course. I would love that. Millennia. Sounds like fun.
What if you could? What are you willing to give up for that?
She thinks for a second. Literally like a split like second, and goes, everything.
Let it be done. As he says that, he'll take his fangs out without her seeing.
You're already right here by her neck, so can't
Yep.
see.
Can't see, and he is going to bite her and take that contract.
Okay.
She offers everything.
So you bite her, you let her drink the little bit of your blood that is required, because it is a blood bond in that way, and because of that blood exchange, she collapses and passes out while she begins to undergo her transformation. Do you have a spare coffin for her?
I do.
Good. I figured you might, because you've only made like 4 vamps. This is like your 5th.
She would take the coffin that's strategically placed in this room. It's actually where the wardrobe is hidden.
Okay.
It doubles as a wardrobe.
It appears like a wardrobe, but it's truly a coffin.
Truly a coffin. Yeah.
Nice.
But it is the way that this coffin looks like. I think he actually takes care of her. I think this is only the first one of his race kind that he's turned, and he has a little bit of a soft spot for her.
Okay.
So he makes sure that this coffin is taken care of afterwards. As she lays into it, he carries her and places her in, closes the coffin. And as he does so, he would probably order something a little bit more elegant. Something that would have almost the carving of how she looks and her appearance as of today, placed on the outside.
Oh, okay.
So that it looks like it's carved into the top of the coffin, and on the sides it says her name in Eladrin.
Ooh, I love that. Alright, so it's going to be... I'm going to mark that as she is Vamp W. I'm going to mark it as Vamp W1, because we don't technically know how many you will choose to have.
Sure. She will be someone who is, as of right now, of importance. You will see also that he takes special care of this coffin. As the camera would circle around, it would actually see not only the engraving of what she looks like on the outside of the coffin, but also the Eladrin name, but also the 4 seasons would be on either side of the coffin. So like it would look like winter on one side, autumn on the other, and so on and so forth, to circle the meaning of life around that.
Yeah. The meaning of the life, death, rejuvenation, peak of life, so on and so forth. And I kind of imagine her name and stuff being in the summer side, because she was so-called plucked at the peak of her life.
Sure.
As you finish doing all of this, now that would have been over a course of a couple of days, or?
That would be a couple of days, maybe weeks, depending on who needs to get it done.
Okay, so after that's all done and that's all taken care of, she's still asleep. You know, she'll be asleep for the first year to make sure that she's fully transformed.
Sure.
But after the coffin is fully finalized, you hear your knocker at your door. Come. You weren't expecting anybody.
Who the fuck is it now? You see him crack his neck. He was probably sitting at the foot of his throne. You'd imagine him kind of lackadaisically, his arm behind it. He's got his cross-legged, and he's not sitting at the throne as you would, but more of to the side, and he's kind of have his legs up. He's bored, and he's just gets up. Who the fuck is that now? And he would just swing open the door with his hand, with a wave of his hand, if he can.
Absolutely. This is This is your castle. This is your lair. It does respond to your needs more magically than most humanoid castles.
Sure.
So the doors fly open, and in the doorway you see a 7-foot-tall hooded figure. It's been done raining for a while,
sure.
But he walks in. He cracks his knuckles, shakes his hand because it kind of hurt a little bit because he hit it on the door, and he drops his hood, and before you see something you haven't seen since you were in the Fae. You see a gray changeling, 7 foot tall, with black eyes and 3 slits for a mouth.
Beautiful.
He walks up to you and he bows, waiting for your permission.
You see, he takes a really long time.
He's not used to this level of respect from people.
He's going to turn around and walk towards his throne. Yeah. Get with the program. Go ahead. What is it that you need?
I have plans for the world. One thing you do know about changelings from your time in the Fae and all of that is that changelings are immortal by nature.
Sure.
Unlike vampires who have to be changed into immortal creatures, they are born that way.
Sure.
There's even maybe some small rumors that changeling blood is how vampires came about, but no one has any. Those are unfounded and nobody knows the truth. So there may be 10,000, 20,000 years old, 20,000 year old rumors. But he says, I have an arrangement that might be mutually beneficial.
Speak your mind.
I am working on collecting individuals who need more in their life.
A twinkle sparks in his left eye.
Ruling this county, ruling this island you're on cannot be enough to satisfy you.
You have my attention.
I know what you are, my young Count Vaelith. There's a reason I dropped my hood for you, and that is out of respect. I am over building a city that will become a jewel within this continent. However, Tor Samil needs a guiding hand. And I am offering you the position of being the force behind the guiding hand.
A smirk comes across his face. And you're gonna see that he was... As he was talking, the camera would have seen he was playing with a coin still in his right hand. And secretly, he does little gambling sessions with himself. Tails, kill the thing in front of you. Heads, they live. And he's finished twirling that. And he looks at his hand. Lands on heads. And he looks at the person. It looks like luck is on our side today. Tell me more.
And at that, I think that's a great place to end the session tonight. And we will see you guys in a couple of days. And you can catch North on Somebody's Heroes going forward with as he leads the Ravencourt.
Caca!